Hello, hello, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever, wherever you are. You have found your way to Speed Gaming 3 today, where we are bringing you a Link to the Past Randomizer tournament match between P-Train and Toplife. This is a round of 64 match with Toplife up 1-0 in the best of 3, and the winner gets Willard J. Bradley as their next opponent. I am Reg. Joining me on the mic today is JP. JP, how you doing? What do you want to see today?
Doing good. I am looking forward to seeing this match. What do I want to see? Usually I just want to see a good match. I don't want to see either runner fall too far behind. I want to see a match that comes right down to the end. And let's see a game 3. I always like to see that.
Yeah, game 3s are always great. And Toplife, as I said, is up 1-0 in best of 3. You can see on their menus here, both runners already holding a sword, even though we haven't started yet. P-Train, as the loser of game 1, did flip that flag on, so both runners will have a sword. And that's after, in their game 1, they had a sword in Sanctuary, which is pretty close to assured.
Yeah, some runners just like to have the sword. It just helps overall, just make sure you can do your usual tricks and not have any issues. It can be bad when you go 50 minutes into a scene without a sword.
Yeah, it's just nice and relaxing to have, really. It doesn't necessarily make the game any easier because you still got to find all your items, but it's good to have that in your back pocket.
So, got P-Train early, gonna look for some bombs, potentially check the lumberjack, see if that's gonna be needed. No bombs in the bush crab, just some green rupees.
Single bomb drop there is nice, although it's just the one. But this does show off most what I like about early lumberjack checks. A lot of runners will skip this check until they have the boots, because you can't get it without the boots. But it lets you check the bush crab. Hey, a sword.
Well, I don't think we'll be seeing that sword picked up.
Nah, I mean, there's like the 1 in a million odds that it's the only other accessible sword, or it's somehow faster than the other 2 swords, like if both the other swords are on tablets or something. But yeah, probably not seeing that today. It's Toplife taking his sword directly into the castle.
Yeah, that sword actually is gonna be interesting to hold on to, just in case, like you said, they don't find another sword, and it's getting late into the sieve. Could come into play, but that'd be the only way.
I would imagine we would actually see it picked up if the runners have to kill Aghanim to go to the Dark World regardless. Now, early flippers, there's actually an interesting find, because I did watch over their game 1 earlier, and from what I could see, the story of that race basically came in 2 parts. In the first part, Toplife missed a Cane of Samaria in the front part of Pendant Skull Woods, and this led him to make a Pendant Misery Mire dip instead of a Turtle Rock clear. That got him sword advantage. The second part to the story of game 1 was those flippers. P-Train got them super early relative to Toplife, as early as you can get an item out of Spike Cave, I guess. But he didn't go to Pendant Swamp Palace, which had the progression. Meanwhile, Toplife got those flippers, went straight there, and they were in the dungeon about the same time, got their go mode out of the back of it, and Toplife just rode that sword advantage to victory. So that was the story of game 1. Seeing the key item flippers show up so early in game 2, not sure how the runners are going to feel about that, but hey, maybe Swamp's a crystal this time and that'll just bail them out.
Well, with where they are in the front of Escape, that could be an issue if they basically if the seed leads P-Train away from Escape for a while.
Yeah, that first chest of the castle escape is a so-called Sphere 1. You don't need anything to get to it. It's in logic accessible from minute 0. But, oh, that mirror is actually the item I was going to bring up. A lot of runners will put off that castle until like the hour mark even, just because there's no better time to do it. But that mirror will let him check that out at the same time that he goes to the Dark World and checks out the item on the Pyramid's Ledge. Then he can just mirror to the Light World, the castle, and go do it. So that find means he probably won't be missing that for that long once he gets to the Dark World.
Trying to see if Top Life had anything else interesting. See if there's anything in the Uncle area, but I don't think so. There was a glove though on P-Train's side.
Glove is 1/3 of at least a couple of the different item trifectas that will get us to the Dark World. You can get there with... You need a Moon Pearl in all cases, but you need either 2 gloves, or 1 glove and a hammer, or a sword and either a second sword or a cape. That last combination of items letting you into Agus Tower.
Nice bottle find there in the back of the tavern to check Sick Kid for some rupees.
That's always convenient to have that in Kakariko, just let you find it and walk right in. And hey, it's actually hard vanilla bottle. And it is worth noting, we didn't see the 2 checks on Top Life side, the Uncle and the chest right next to him. What we can say is because his item slot was empty, it was definitely not, he definitely did not find any Y items doing that. So.
Yeah, and when he did a save and quit, I didn't see anything in his inventory that looked interesting. So I think it was, whatever it was not important.
Yeah, like the most I noticed on his menu there is he had 3 heart pieces, so maybe it was just a pair of those. Who knows? But not relevant either way.
P-Train's gonna check the back of Escape. Don't think we've seen the small key yet. We did see the map in the sanctuary.
So if we see no small key here, we can confirm that it's in the dark chest and neither runner will... Oh, but there's the key. So dark chest is going to have an item. Now, where's... Sorry, go on.
They're probably going to head do the South Shore checks now because they don't really have anything pointing in any specific direction yet.
Yeah, his options to this point are basically either the South Shore checks, which is the Dam, Mini Moldorm Cave, Ice Shrug Cave, or he could go to the Eastern Palace area and Sahasrara. This has a lot more checks, though. And with that mirror, you can Eastern Palace, Palace of Darkness later, or something like that, just to increase the efficiency a little bit.
Top Life's going to check through Kakariko as P-Train gives us our new looks on the South Shore.
Yeah, not seeing anything new on Top Life's side here, at least until he finishes the village in the Lost Woods, which he's almost done with. But oh, P-Train's actually running over the dam to Aegina's Cave. This is an out-of-the-way single item. A lot of runners love to skip it just because it is slow. But he's going for it, and he's going to show us what's on the ledge of Desert Palace as well.
Another bottle on the ledge. Yeah, I think Top Life's going to go straight to Mini Moldorm. He might be essentially thinking the same way P-Train is going to go from Mini Moldorm to the dam to Gina.
Doing it like that will cause him to leave out Ice Shrug Cave, which is another single item in the corner of the world. But P-Train's going to be able to get that single item fairly efficiently by routing it in with the Mini Moldorm Cave that Top Life's doing now.
It's possible Top Life also might head that way instead and just save the dam for later. We'll see after he comes out of here. There's a cane of Samaria.
There's a mushroom. That's a good duo of items to find together.
That's about it. So that'll only open up one check. Well, two checks if you actually no. It'll open up a second check later. Top Life's gonna take those flippers though and do some flipper checks.
Swimming is the fastest way to get to Ice Rod Cave. I'm a little surprised to see him go check the island and then not continue that back up to Hobo, then swim down, but maybe this is faster. I haven't timed it out or anything. But if you do get super early flippers, then swimming over to Ice Rod Cave from an Emolorm Cave is pretty much always the way to go.
Now, both runners do have 500 rupees, so Zora is on the table, and Zora would be in logic for both, because they would have an item in logic to get to Zora.
There's a good thing that Top Life didn't leave that Ice Rod Cave behind and go for a mini Mortem Cave Dam Aegina route, because that would have missed that hook shot for him.
Now, that is a nice pickup. And that might tempt the runners to do a sequence break up Death Mountain for all the chests on Eastern Death Mountain. That hook shot, though, also, at least for me, would also at least start to put an Aghanim play in my mind. Because when you get a combination like flippers and hook shot early, it's definitely a possible way of what the game wants you to do.
Yeah, you can use either the flippers, a glove, or the hammer, and you can just work your way slightly north of the pyramid to a spot where you can hook shot across to the west side of the Dark World. And I would definitely agree. We've got both glove and flippers plus hook shot for that combination. But we still need a lamp and either a second sword or the cape to have Aghanim's Tower truly accessible to us.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you really want to have the Moon Pearl too before you would even think about that.
Yeah, Moon Pearl on Pyramid is a possibility, but I think almost every runner would last location that.
If P-Train confirms the Uncle area is just junk, Top Life doesn't get much from the flipper checks, though we do have Hobo that wasn't checked.
Yep, Hobo's on the table, but all the other flipper checks so far just straight junk. We saw a shield on the Zora ledge was probably the most interesting thing. I mean, it's a shield. Yeah.
At this point, what we've got left to check is we've got Hobo, and we've got Saharsala and Eastern Palace as well.
Yep, that is between 6 and 7 items, assuming these runners don't care about the lamp, which I really don't think they do. Of course, if they don't care about the lamp, you can also say Eastern Palace, which is a ton of items with the hookshot and the mirror.
Yep, Eastern Death Mountain, that is a possibility as well. And I would imagine both these runners would probably do that if they found the lamp almost right away.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if either of them are willing to do it without the lamp. The Dark Room to get the Old Man rescue is not especially difficult, so it's just a matter of logic at that point.
Top Life gonna go check out Saharsala, see what he's got.
Three items in the back. A lot of runners put this off. In my opinion, longer than a lot of them should. But I'm biased, so don't take routing advice from me. And there's mountain access.
Yep, that's our access up Death Mountain. And Top Life, that's his next play.
Yeah, just between being able to enable your fast travel option and getting access to those ton of items on the mountain, Can't give an exact count because we can reach the Tower of Hera, but there's no guarantee about how many items we can get in it. So, but it's a lot of items. I think at minimum there's 11 items available to us on the mountain right now with what we have.
Now, P-Train gonna check the Dark Cross. There is an item down here. Top Life did not check this. And just a heart container.
Nice to have, but I would say probably not worth the time there, and wouldn't be surprised if P-Train could take that one back given the option.
So, where is... Oh, P-Train's gonna go turn in the mushroom. We might see him do a reset after this, if it's nothing.
He's fresh off a save and quit, so I would expect the reset if this is nothing. Just to try and hold out for a hammer so that he can use the cane and the mushroom to do the fake magic powder glitch.
And just a piece of heart. There's the reset.
Yep. Definitely keeping that. Now when he gets the hammer, or when he gets over to the Dark World with the Titan's mitts, he'll be able to just do a glitch that causes the mushroom to act like powder, and he'll be able to check the magic bat location with it.
I think P-Train is gonna climb the mountain as well.
From a density perspective, it's absolutely the correct play. He's just going to be missing out on his fast travel option the longer he goes without checking Sahasrara.
Well, the interesting thing here would be is if he finds something up here, and especially if he finds a lamp up here, he'll know that Flute is available somewhere within his remaining checks.
Yeah, and with that Master Sword find on Top Life side, wouldn't be surprised to see a lamp here on the mountain.
5 checks coming up. And piece of heart. Blue mail. Well, there's powder. There's a pearl.
Still no Dark World access, though. We need either a second glove, a hammer, or a lamp. Any of those would be Dark World access for us at this point. Although the lamp would put it through Aghanim's tower instead of conventionally, and that would just be slow.
P-Train's gonna go check Hera first. Nothing on Spectacle Rock. Or in Spectacle Rock.
I can't say I'm a fan of the Hera first check, just because it is a crystal dungeon, and, well, actually, we have the hook shot, so these runners can do the Hera pot clip, and that will let them at least guarantee that they can kill Moldworm, but they risk leaving an item behind without a way to light torches in this dungeon. If either the big key is in the basement and an item's in the big chest, or if just an item is in the basement directly.
Oh, there's a Dark World access. Titan's Mitts in Spiral Cave.
Yeah, and that's probably the best Dark World access to find when you're on the mountain, because Top Life can just go down. Well, yeah, he can just go down here. He can lift a rock, and he can be in the Dark World. And there's 6 more items on the mountain he can get now.
You know, P-Train side, he's climbing up. Got a quick map check. I saw Pendant Turtle Rock and Pendant Mire. Did not see our third pendant.
I think I saw that at Ice Palace with a 5/6 crystal at Swamp Palace.
Interesting. So Pendant 5, 6, 7 dungeons, essentially.
Man. That's pretty much the dream right there. Because those dungeons are all horrifically slow, especially if you don't get to go mode them. Top Life finds a bow. That's pretty good.
There's a cape.
Yeah, Cape would open up Aghanim's tower for us, except for the fact that we already found a Master Sword on Top Life side that also does that. You need either the Master Sword to break the magic barrier in front of the tower, or the Magic Cape just to sneak right past it.
Got mini Moldrum Cave, not mini Moldrum Cave, Hookshot Cave, starting with rupees, bombs. Oh, we got some boots. And our silver arrows.
Great Dark Death Mountain just for sheer items found. Like, the only thing these runners could really want more at this point, I think, would be the hammer. Do see Quake to open up Turtle Rock, but it's really who cares.
P-Train gets the first crystal of the run.
I was not counting items efficiently, so I couldn't tell you if P-Train is leaving an item behind.
Yeah, I missed if
But-
Moldworm dropped an item. If Moldworm did not, then there's an item in the basement. I'm sure chat will correct me in a minute.
And regardless, P-Train couldn't get it even if he wanted to, because like I said before, no fire to light up the torches. And we do actually see Top Life is abandoning the west side of the mountain and the Tower of Hera entirely. He's taking those mitts straight to the village.
Probably be fine for him unless something is on Bumper Cave.
Yeah, that cape is all he's essentially missing out on there. Which the bumper ledge is reachable for him. He's just got to take a bit of a short walk to the north. Doubt he'll do that right now since he doesn't seem inclined to check Skull Woods immediately either, though.
Now, this could end up being a really quick seed. I'm just kind of looking at where these runners are. There's the lamp as well. Actually, that's very good because with the lamp now known, Eastern's clearable, Desert's clearable. We still need a hammer for pods. We still need a fire rod for Skullwoods.
Yeah, and Tracker is correcting us. Apparently, Swamp Palace is the pendant, Ice Palace is the 5/6 crystal. That would be my mistake, my misread, I guess. Shout out Star Tracker Oro for keeping us honest on that one, making sure we get the details right for you guys.
So we'll also need a way to get into Ice Palace, but that can also be covered by Fire Rod.
Right. It's basically, yeah, Fire Rod and Hammer are the only items we actually definitely need that we haven't found yet.
Yeah, so we're looking at a potentially quick seed here. But every time I say that, it feels like something's going to elude them for a while.
Oh yeah, those items could be practically anywhere. Like the Fire Rod especially, it does potentially lock a good bit of Turtle Rock depending on key layouts.
Oh, we got a map check on P-Train side. It is Swamp as Crystal, Ice Palace as a pendant.
Oh. Now that doesn't change very much. We need the Fire Rod either way for Skull Woods. And we need the Hammer either way for Palace of Darkness. That's the only item we're missing for Swamp. So we're still potentially on track for a quick seed here if that Fire Rod doesn't continue to elude us. The Hammer blocks so many locations that at this point I'm not especially concerned about it being in a silly out-of-the-way location. But I guess that's possible too as well.
I never like saying that because then you end up with a hammer in Ice Palace.
Yeah, but if they end up with that, that's pretty likely their go mode item.
And of course, as we're trying to say, this could be an easy seed. Just looking at chat, and they're coming up with plenty of scenarios where the seed can still be bad.
Yeah, that's what Twitch chat does. So.
So let's see what P-Train does with his Dark World access.
I'm a bit surprised Toplife took the purple chest and fluted to turn it in instead of walking the long way around. But he can go back, he can get those other checks he left behind pretty much whenever he wants.
Well, P-Train's going right for King's Tomb, which we have not seen yet.
P-Train was the one that checked the Lumberjack Cave reel earlier, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I was going to say he could be doing King's Tomb, Bonk Rocks, and then Lumberjack Ledge check, but he's already done one of those, so he's just getting the boots locations out of the way immediately here.
Yeah, plus his only access to Dark World right now is through Kakariko.
Honestly, though, I have to say I'm less of a fan of this than I would normally be, because he's got the mirror, and like you said, his Dark World access is through Kakariko. Well, there's a Fire Rod, so hammer for go mode.
This could be a very interesting seed if Hammer turns out to be in Palace of Darkness. Or not Palace of Darkness, sorry. Thieves Town. Why did I say Palace of Darkness?
Yeah, because that's where it is in vanilla, which means it could be there again here, just because that would be silly, but Randomizer's silly. Chat's calling out Hammer in Misery Mire, which is actually a location for it that I'm quite fond of, especially as far as silly locations go. But regardless, I do want to just finish my thought earlier on P-Train's routing with the boots. Like, he's got the mirror, and his only Dark World access is in Kakariko. So what I would normally like to see runners do in that situation is combine those boots checks with the Graveyard Ledge. Just because that's a good way to not leave Graveyard Ledge behind. P-Train finds a very useless Ice Rod.
Yeah, we don't need to set foot in Turtle Rock at all in this seed.
Yep. We have to have the hammer to knock down those pegs, so we literally cannot open Turtle Rock without already being in go mode.
I think P-Train might be taking a more traditional Dark World route when you only have one access. A lot of runners like to basically clear out as much of Dark World as they can in order, because you only have that one portal to and from Dark World. Going through it continuously gets a bit annoying.
Yeah, and it just basically comes down to Graveyard Ledge is a popular skip option just because of how out of the way and isolated it tends to be, especially if you find boots before mirror or you just don't find boots at all, both of which are common. But in general, when you've only got the one, taking it from north to south, doing as many checks in there as you can, just so that you minimize your trips to the Dark World, is definitely a good way to save time.
P-Train checks the bumper ledge, only a piece of heart. He's going to isolate Graveyard Ledge at this point.
Yeah. If you're making the conscious decision to do that, then sure, none of my earlier comments about routing the boots locations apply.
So we are just on a hammer hunt at this point. P-Train will get his Fire Rod whenever he goes into Thieves Town.
Yeah. Key logic for Thieves Town does come into play here. Even though Toplife has to leave that big chest behind, it can't possibly be the hammer, because you require the hammer to open it. But finding the small key means that the hammer is not logically locking this boss fight.
The top life's got blinds down.
Yep, that's an ether medallion that we probably won't need, but I guess we might want to open Mire for a hammer hunt in there. And P-Train finding that lamp in the village brewery at the very south of the Dark Village, that should give him a pretty good indication of where the flute is.
Yep, and he'll easily pick that up whenever he goes to check Palace of Darkness. With the mirror, it's a pretty easy check to go into Arsa's hut quick before going into Palace of Darkness. Sorry, go ahead.
You say that, but you can't use... He'd have to take the long walk through the Dark World for that. Or I guess in this case, since he doesn't have the hammer, he'd have to take the long swim. And if he did find the hammer before that, he'd be in go mode. So...
That's true. Well, no, he wouldn't. He needs some access to deserts.
Oh, yes, you're totally correct there. I forgot about that for a sec. So, unless he finds the book somewhere along the way in addition to the hammer, which there's still a lot of items to check, especially for him at this point. But you are right. In order to enter the Desert Palace, you use the Book of Medora in vanilla, but in Randomizer, Flute plus Mitts plus Mirror will also solve that for you. But the point I was trying to make was that we may see P-Train skip that if he's already in go mode by the time he reaches the eastern area. He may just opt to not grab it, even if he knows it's there, because it wouldn't really save him time at that point.
That is fair. We got Top Life in Skull Woods. We already know there's nothing else here. P-Train grabbed both items, the Ice Rod and a Rupee.
Yeah, but with the Fire Rod, he can still go to the back, kill Mothula, and get the crystal there.
Yeah, P-Train could also do that after this, but I think he may end up holding on it until he's in go mode. Just because it's easy to get back here anyway.
Yeah, at this point, the only thing in the back of Skull Woods is the crystal, so it's a whenever you want sort of thing. There's no rush to do it.
To answer your question, chat, I don't think Top Life checked Type Cave.
No, Top Life grabbed the purple chest, then he mirrored and fluted the 7 to turn it in. I'm pretty sure the dig game was the only South Dark World check he did. I don't think he checked Stumpy, the Grove Ledge, or Hype Cave.
Yeah, he went from dig game to Smith to Magic Bats to Purple Chest.
I can't see him leaving those checks behind after finishing Skull Woods here. But he might opt for the north stuff, because I don't think he's done the boots checks yet either.
P-Train's got his second crystal. Still hunting for that hammer. We know it won't be on Mothula as Top Life starts that fight.
You do see Top Life opting to use Master Sword spins instead of the Fire Rod here.
He's got to be careful. He's down to a heart and a half. Does have a blue potion.
He's got blue mail, so he can take one hit regardless of source. But
and that was
after
the hit he
taking
could
that
take.
hit, yeah.
He does burn the blue potion, but did not need it.
Nah. Better to use it and not have needed to use it than to not use it and die.
So our crystals are at 2 apiece. Let's see how P-Train routes. Is he going to do Smith Chain or is he going to follow the southern route? He's leaving Smith behind for now.
Tracker does raise a good point in chat. The way Toplife routed the Smiths in the purple chest, he included the magic bat in that, which without the hammer means that he lost his Dark World portal created from the mirror. So he'd either have to walk back up to the portal he's taking now, or just do what he did and flute it away.
Stumpy has a piece of heart. P-Train's next check will be Hype Cave, 5 chests. I think Toplife's following P-Train right now.
Yeah, these are all the checks he made a decision not to do with the purple chest because of how his mirror routing worked. But Hype K, 5 chances at the hammer. And then we'll learn how closely P-Train was paying attention to the logic if he finds it here. No, that's a bad place to find that. Like, that is the worst place to find shovel.
Red potion, red rupee, and an empty bottle.
So we do know where all 4 bottles are because we saw the 4th one earlier and chose not to get it.
P-Train is continuing on. He is not going to check the shovel for now. He never checked this. So go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, Toplife did check this, but I would be surprised to see Toplife turn back around for the shovel as well, instead of just doing basically what P-Train's doing and swimming over to the eastern pod area.
Now we're going to get a hobo check. We have not seen hobo yet.
Yeah, good presence of mind from P-Train to realize he skipped this one earlier and routed in now, especially because the Dark World has this little area you can jump right up to when you're done checking.
I believe P-Train skipped all of the flipper checks early, which actually could work out for him because he may go check catfish and he could route them in later.
Yeah, routing like this will let him mirror straight from catfish to Zora, which is faster than the way Toplife did it.
So will P-Train go up to the pod area? Nope, he's going to leave it for now.
Deciding, I guess, Pyramid, Catfish, and Zora are more important.
Well, it is a higher density, technically. In pod, you'd only be guaranteed 4 items right now. But we also got Eastern, he could easily combo with it.
Yeah, Pod plus Eastern plus the Hasrala right now is a guaranteed 10 items.
Never mind, he's going back. He just wanted to check the pyramid.
That actually makes some sense. Catfish is a long walk. Pyramid, not quite so much.
So if he mirrors here, he'll get his flute. Which he is.
Yep, then he just walks out, gets right back in his portal, and be on his way to... I'm sure he's going to do Eastern Palace first, just on account of not having that hammer. But pretty sure we'll see both dungeons from both runners here.
So if we find the hammer in Eastern or Pod, this is going to be a very close race.
Yeah, at that point, it basically comes down to Toplife is done the back of Skullwoods in the Mothula fight, P-Train's done here. Those are pretty comparably fast, except, well, they're both only going to have to climb the mountain one more time regardless, actually. So, yeah, that's close.
And both are checking Eastern first.
Yeah, no reason not to do Eastern first, just on the off chance that the hammer is in here. Then you don't have to double dip Palace of Darkness.
And you're just watching these two as each of them makes a slightly different move. One will move ahead of the other.
Generally speaking, even with the boots, dropping down and walking back through the cannonballs is faster than dashing like Topplife did. So... Also, just as a reminder... Sorry, go on.
So we have everything for Eastern for sure. Well, we have nuts. Do we see an item in that first chest?
Yeah, it was a red rupee. Also, Chad's talking about how P-Train has to go back to Kakariko to activate the flute. If we find the hammer here, I guess he has to do that for Desert regardless. So, but there's still a slim chance we find both the hammer and the book, and that's not actually the case.
I think, even in that case, I think he'd still go activate the flute, because since he has to go kill Mothula, he might as well just activate the flute then, and it'll be a little faster for him.
Yeah, I guess routing it in at that point, it makes sense, especially because Desert is a little bit of a walk from Link's house, even if you route it in with Swamp Palace.
I'm about to say P-Train do a damage boost to get this chest.
Not absolutely perfect, but when you've got as much health as he does, it doesn't need to be. Toplife's is actually an example of what the intended damage boost strat looks like. Just bounce off the Popo, pick up the pot while you're still in iframes, hit the switch without losing your iframes, then get knocked back out, and pick up the chest.
So Armos has an item. We'll have our last item in the dungeon.
And then either 4 or 5 items in Palace of Darkness afterward.
Ooh, Toplife got a little off pattern with those those Igors. Lost some time in that room.
Yeah, he tried to slash the Popo, wound up slashing the Igor instead. That knocked him vertically off the pattern, and that was unfortunate.
Here's the Armos Knights fight with silver arrows blink and you miss it.
Yep, that's an Armos Knights fight.
Third crystal for P-Train. Toplife will be right behind him.
Yep, he's grabbing his crystal here just before P-Train's cutscene ends to get him out of the dungeon.
And here comes our pod check.
So, just for the sake of the race, let's assume that the hammer is not here in pod. Where would you go next?
Never mind! I was gonna say I go do P-Train to go do Catfish Zora, but there's our go mode.
Well, that happened, yeah. I'd say nice bow lock, but we found both bows in roughly the same spot. So yeah, at this point, it's just a dead heat straight through the remaining dungeons for these guys.
Assuming Toplife can do a really quick Harapot, I think, well, I feel like Hera will take a little less time than Skullwoods if Toplife can do a quick Harapot. But yeah, this is going to be a very close race to the end. The one thing that could come into play too is, do we find a third sword? We know a sword is on Lumberjack. Well, P-Train knows that. Toplife doesn't. And I wonder if that could also play into how they check chests.
Do you know how Assured Sword impacts the item pool? Because it's like, if I remember what I heard correctly...
Toplife, you don't have the big key.
He didn't see it on his menu either. That's going to be a bit of a time loss.
This is really kind of bad. This is going to put Top Life a bit behind. There's the big key on P-Train's side.
Yeah, because Toplife is going to get all the way to the boss door before running into that big key lock.
Yeah, I mean, somebody made a comment in the chat. Our tracker actually made this. Seed this fast, mistakes add quickly. Yeah, they do, and this was basically a dead heat until this.
Yeah.
Basically, Top Life's got to do a second clear of pod now.
Something is missing. Ouch.
And he doesn't have a small key. He's got to go back through the bow lock side. That's going to cost him a little more time.
Yeah, none of this turning up Toplife's way just because he got too fixated on the fact that he was in item go mode and forgot pod has keys. That's unfortunate.
So on P-Train's side, he's heading towards the boss, towards Helmisar.
Yeah, he'll be able to actually open the door, so he'll show off how to do this boss fight. Actually, these runners are not significantly better equipped than they would be in a vanilla speed run. I mean, they've got blue mail and they've got, what is that, 4 extra hearts?
They also have silver arrows if they want to use those.
Oh, yeah, that is true. The second phase is going to be... Oh, he is using them. Yeah, 1 silver arrow, that's down. But...
if you have tempered, maybe you don't switch, but yeah, with silver arrows, just do the silver arrow.
Yeah, I think actually gold sword's the only sword where it's faster not to switch to silvers there.
That is P-Train's 4th crystal.
Yeah, and unlike the sync that was almost there when they were killing Armos Knights, Toplife's more than a few seconds behind on his 4th this time.
Kind of curious how much time this is going to cost him. P-Train got his crystal basically at 46 minutes.
Well, Toplife has the big key now, so he's just got to run back through the dark area that he's already done.
He won't have to sit through the cutscene again, at least.
Yeah, that's about 19 seconds in his favor. Well, I say in his favor. He did already spend that time. He just doesn't have to double spend it.
P-Train can activate his flute, and then he'll likely go finish Skullwoods.
Yeah, chat's calling out that P-Train is leaving Tempered behind. You have to kill Aghanim for the Lumberjack, just as a quick reminder, so we're not seeing that Tempered here.
Yeah, no chance. This would have been an interesting scenario if they were still on Fighter Sword and P-Train knew where that second sword was. Because I think in that scenario, he might have thought about Aghanim, but not in this scenario.
Yeah. We also do know that both of these runners can do Master Sword Ganon. P-Train actually did a Master Sword Silverless fight in Game 1, so absolutely comfortable there, even if he didn't win the race.
The other thing that's P-Train's favor a little bit is that cape that Toplife will likely not get. That's going to help with a Master Sword Silverless Ganon fight as well.
Yeah, being able to use that cape on phase 2 of the fight can save a decent amount of time, especially if it helps you cut down to just 1 or 2 cycles. And then half magic just makes that even sweeter.
So Top Life grabs his crystal out of pod. That basically cost him about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing you hate to see more than anything in a race like this.
Now, this race is definitely not over yet. There's still a lot that can come into play. So, P-Train's still got to execute all the way up through this. Actually, surprisingly, P-Train did not go back and finish Skull Woods right away. He's doing Desert first. I would hope he didn't forget.
I think he's probably fine just playing it on the off chance that he finds that last sword and can do an even faster Mothula fight.
That's not a bad way to go about it.
Because he's got his flute active now, which he had to do to get into Desert because no sign of the book. But Skull Woods is basically just flute to 3 whenever you want, just like Desert was flute to 6 whenever you want. And similarly, Swamp Palace flute to 4 whenever you want.
And we got a silver arrow Lambo fight there. It's done.
Hey, small shield. Second one of those we've seen this seed.
Now, I did say it was 2.5 minute difference, but remember, P-Train did have to activate that flute, so it's not quite that big.
Yeah, P-Train getting ejected from the desert at about 50 minutes, 25 seconds. And even if the difference exists now, I think you said earlier that Hera is a little bit faster than Skullwoods. So that's a little bit of time that Top Life will also get back.
The P-Train off to Swamp Palace first. This is basically going to be a go mode swamp. He might check a couple chests, but that's about it.
Yeah, as far as checks I would expect to see here, the only one I'm going to say I expect to see is the waterfall chest, the very last one before the boss. May also see checks on the first chest behind the bombable wall and the 2 flooded chests, but I'm not going to say I'd be surprised to see them, but I'm not expecting to.
So if you're these runners, how do you feel at this point? Do you feel like, okay, I'm in a great position, I should be ahead of my opponent, or do you feel this could be either way? Or I'm pretty sure neither of them feel behind. Maybe Top Life feels a little bad after his mistaken pod, but that's about it.
Yeah, between his pod mistake and his missing those arrows in the landmalls fight, hard to say what Top Life's feeling right now. If I'm P-Train or just thinking about this in a vacuum, though, my thought would be, dang, this seed was so free, there's no way my opponent's not right up on me, if not slightly ahead. And Top Life has cut it to just under 2 minutes at this point, getting ejected from the desert about 52-22-ish.
Yeah, plenty of good points being made in chat. That Top Life also sunk a lot of time into doing the Smith chain. P-Train, though, also is where he's down a match. He needs to win to force the game 3. There's a lot probably going through each of their heads.
Yeah, and that it makes it hard to speculate on a particular runner's mindset. Just ton of variables that we can be looking at here for that. But regardless, I wouldn't expect generic runner or P-Train specifically here to be feeling bad about the position. I just also wouldn't really expect them to be feeling good either, with how free the item locations in this seed were.
P-Trade does find Quake, but we don't need that.
Yeah, could open up Turtle Rock if we really wanted to.
I think our desire to open Turtle Rock is the negative right now.
I'm surprised it's even that high.
We got a Master Sword Argus fight. Master Sword means you gotta do a spin per puff or 2 slashes.
Yeah, P-Train was going for spin strats there, but the puff that he pulled got poked, which does no damage on Master Sword pokes, and that ate his spin charge.
Does get Argus down before he does another cycle. Just 1 silver arrow to take it out.
There it is. So that's 6 crystals now for P-Train.
He just needs to go back and do Skullwoods. Or finish Skullwoods.
Yeah, and that's not going to be a very long fight. He'll just have to mirror, which he's already got equipped, flute to 3, and run for it.
Yep, there he goes. So, in all likelihood, Top Life will finish Swamp and start his climb up Death Mountain before P-Train's done with Mothula, but you have to remember, Top Life still needs to do Hera. So in all likelihood, P-Train will still get into GT first.
Yeah, Hera is pretty fast, especially if you do the Hera pot quickly. But it's not instantaneous and not totally free.
Top Life will also have a faster Moldorm fight because he'll have either Hammer or Master Sword to use. P-Train had to use Fighter Sword.
Yeah, P-Train was basically doing the vanilla no major glitches fight, just without the boots. So, it was probably the hardest that you could make that fight, but still wasn't exceptionally difficult. He didn't get knocked down or anything.
Top Life on his Argus fight, just a few more puffs to get down. P-Train on his way back to Mothula.
Do see Top Life mostly getting double pulls there on the Argus fight. That speeds up his fight just a little bit on the first phase.
Argus is down, and Mothula fight going on the P-Train side. Top Life has his 6th crystal. He's gonna climb Death Mountain now, but P-Train's got Mothula down.
That's 7 crystals for P-Train. So he's just going to be straight up the mountain to Ganon's tower, and he's only going to be landing on the mountain a few seconds behind Top Life here.
Yeah, with P-Train on his way up to GT, it's time for our big key guessing game. Get your guesses in chat, 1 to 22. Where do you think the big key will be? P-Train and Top Life both stopping for potions. So remember, even though Top Life will get to the top of the mountain first, he still has to clear out Hera.
P-Train opting specifically for green potions there. I think that pretty strongly hints to me what his strategy for Ganon is going to be.
Yeah, he had the rupees for blue potions anyway, but It might just be his preference.
Yeah, just going for double green there hints to me that he wants to use the cape very liberally in that fight.
Yeah, that's something he's going to have that Top Life will not have. Unless Top Life finds Berna in GT, he's not going to have an invulnerability item.
Berna doesn't help in Master Sword Ganon, though, because you cannot do spin attacks while Berna's active, and if you've got Master Sword, only spins hurt Ganon.
Oh, that's a good point.
So, yeah, basically, at this point, Top Life's not going to have the cape unless he does Hera without Hera Pot, and he checks the big chest.
So Top Life almost at GT, but he's got a mirror and go into Hera.
Yep, and P-Train only a couple screens away from GT here, so he will certainly be entering first.
Ooh, that portal spot was not good for Top Life. He's got to do an extra mirror.
He wanted to check the Spectacle Rock item and make sure it wasn't a sword, it looks like. But yeah, that cost him a mirror transition there.
And yeah, he's going to Hera Pot.
Not even checking the basement cage item, but looks like he's got a setup with the bonk.
P-Train in GT at basically the hour mark.
Yeah, that's ridiculous to think about with pretty much any seed.
No keys in the first two chests. He's got to go left.
That's
the
bombs
third check.
on the torch. Not grabbing those.
Top Life taking on Moldorm. 3 Master Sword spins, and he takes a fall!
Oh, that's... you hate to see that happen to a man at this stage of the race.
There's 4, 5, 6, and 7. Still no big key.
3 keys in that room, though. Chat's already mentioning it. But Top Life could do the strat that sees him go to that room first and then full right side. That could overturn this race in a hurry.
There's chest 8. Top Life's grabbed his 7th crystal.
He's still got to sit through that several second long opening cutscene, though.
Yeah, it's going to be just under 2 minutes when Top Life gets in.
Basically no difference cut off from when they got their desert crystals.
Chest 9 on P-Train side. Yep, basically 1 hour, 1 minute 55 seconds behind for Top Life. He's starting right as well.
Okay, unfortunately that, unless he decides to get those keys and mirror after that Stalfos room, they're going to be running the same route here.
Chest 10, 11, 12, and 13. Yeah, Top Life's biggest help might be after the Stalfos room, he mirrors and goes right.
And I do know that there are a lot of runners that will dynamically reroute GT based on how many keys they get in that room. I do not know if Top Life is one of them, but could potentially even put him in the lead of this race if he does.
Let's see what he does as P-Train checks chest 14. He's clearing the room. He's not going to mirror.
Okay, that's unfortunate for Top Life because it just means P-Train is definitively in the lead here as they're going to be following the same routes. This race is most certainly not over yet, but Top Life's either going to have to play like an absolute madman to make it up, or P-Train's going to have to make some sort of error.
For anyone who tuned in late, this race was basically even at one point. And there it is, a big key in chest 17. Yeah, this race was basically even at one point. What happened that changed the race was Toplife tried to go mode pod without the big key, and that hurt him.
Yeah, at this point, I think that is pretty much the entirety of their time difference. P-Train does get the good dash through this mini hell. Well, I'm not going to say it's a mini hellway, but it's not quote unquote the hellway that you see in Thieves Town. Regardless, being able to dash through all those spikes, pretty good. Toplife is on his way to the so-called Bob's room. I think pretty much everybody watching this that I've seen in chat knows, but for anybody who doesn't, for anybody who's watching this on YouTube later, Bob is the community name for that glitched anti-fairy that Toplife killed. And it is glitched when you do not collect the item off the torch way back at the start of the tower.
P-Train going to take the health refill there, which is a bit significant because it means it's going to affect the land mola pattern here, as you see two of them spawn right away. Though he almost still one-cycled it.
Yeah, he got the hardest part of the one cycle, I think, getting the two that spawned almost simultaneously on the left and right, but missed the third one, unfortunately. Which, it happens. Silver arrows are super laggy. Land molas move rather unpredictably. So...
yeah, it's basically an execution race the rest of the way. P-Train is about 2 minutes ahead.
And nothing in his play so far suggests that he's going to be giving that up. But Moldorm and Ganon can always equalize it.
Ganon definitely, because this is not going to be your standard Ganon fights. You're going to have to do Master Sword strats, which, while not much different, they're different enough that it could trip you up. P-Train's going to check chests.
Don't really blame him for checking these. They're very fast chests right in the way. And if one of them does happen to have a clutch sword, the time save is worth.
It's just a reminder, we know where one of the remaining two swords is, and that is on the Lumberjack. So there's only one sword unaccounted for. And P-Train's not even going to check this last chest because he's going to hover that gap.
That's a time save. I don't remember how big of a time save it is off the top of my head, but it's definitely a time save over killing Moldorm, waiting for him to explode, and waiting for that chest to spawn.
So we've got Aghanim 2 now.
Clean double to start with.
Ooh, got a 0 there.
That was a rough pattern, and the blue ball didn't help, but there's another double, just needs 2 more hits.
Just one more. Meanwhile, Toplife struggling on Land Mola 2.
He chose to take the health refill as well, and it is showing. That does desync the pattern from what you'll typically see.
I think it's not an understatement to talk about how big that blue mail they found was. This could be much, much more difficult had they not found that.
Yeah, Top Life's what, 10 hearts, and P-Train's on 11. Blue Mail adds on to that massively.
But P-Train begins his Ganon fight. With the Master Sword, he must use spins. Slashes will do no damage.
He needs 12 of them. This position's pretty favorable to get in some doubles, though. Unfortunately, throwing the Triton means he can't just stand there and do it like he would if it were the Fire Bat phase.
He's in the Fire Bat phase, and this is where that cape is going to come in big. He can just stand there and spin over and over.
I think that was 11.
Yeah, not quite enough, but he has enough now.
Yeah, we'll be on to phase 3 after this.
Gonna drink one of each potion.
On Top Life side, he's made it over to the Moldorm 2 fight, so he'll show off why hovering is the time save here. And yeah, like just in the time that it takes Moldorm to explode is basically how long it took P-Train to hover that gap. And Top Life had to do the actual fight.
Right. P-Train in phase 4. Just 4 silver arrows at this point. He has a torch glitch, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Good on him not to get the silverless hit there. But torch glitch, honestly, at this point may have been a negative for him slightly. Just because he could set up a double or something with the fire rod. Looks like he's got one here, though, and that is 4. So, yeah, GG's in chat for P-Train. We will be seeing a Game 3 this series.
P-Train officially finishes in first place at the time of 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 50 seconds.
That is crazy fast for a randomizer seed. And Top Life is about to get dropped into the Ganon fight.
Top Life falls in.
Top Life has no cape, has blue potions instead, but playing a much more dangerous game here because he's not going to be able to just stack those double spins on phase 2 like P-Train was. Of course, I think at this point in the cycle, P-Train was already on phase 2 regardless. Or was this the one that put him there? I don't remember. Getting all those double hits regardless, but now, oh, hook shot to the torch, and he is out without taking a hit.
Oh, he took a hit there.
I'm a liar. Feels bad, man.
Ooh, and another hit. He's gonna use a blue potion.
Yeah, he has to at that point, but using that means that he wasn't able to... Well, I guess he did get enough hits to get to phase 3 regardless.
Just 1 spin per stomp.
Yep, which means 1 more after this. Or actually, that was it. Ganon complaining about the silver.
There's 1 arrow. No torch glitch, but really it doesn't matter.
Nope, setting it up for a double just like this. Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, that's painful. And after taking that fall, Top Life did opt to forfeit the race. So that'll be the end of the race for us. And let's see if we can get these guys in to join, talk about the seed a little bit. Do you have the winner P-Train here with us? Okay. Now we've got Top Life here with us. GG's, both of you.
GG.
GG.
So, obviously, incredibly quick seed by pretty much any standard. Hammer for go mode. But I guess before I ask anything, is there anything either of you would like to share now that you've had 20 minutes to think on it?
Hammer go mode was probably one of the coolest and most scariest things that could have happened in this seed. Yeah, just because I was following the logic. I sequence broke Death Mountain. So when I found Fire Rod in Sound, I knew that I was Hammer for go mode and that I should have a flute. So right there, I got really nervous and also I had the flipper checks I hadn't done. There was the Mire area. I was almost certain. I'm like, it's in Mire area, and Top Life has had it for 5 minutes. So that's what was going through my mind until I found it in Pod. When I found it in Pod, I was like, well, maybe I saved time by not doing the flipper checks and by skipping Smith Chain. But other than that, I don't know. I feel like I routed it pretty lean.
Yeah, I did both, so Smith and flippers at least. So
yeah, the seed gave you guys a ton of items. Like all the early items seem to be geared towards making your checks just more efficient. So definitely can't say that checking the Smith, checking the flipper checks there were bad checks by any means. They were right there. You were right there. Why not? They could have been the item. Just didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, I mean, all you need is a Hammer on Zora, and I'll probably lose this by a landslide. Because if Hammer wasn't in Pod, especially getting that Ether off of Blind with the small key, my first step was going to be to go to Mire, and if Mire had been Ether, I 100% I was ready to go in Mire.
Yeah, just talking through this race, watching it, Hammer and Mire was definitely near the front of my mind as well as a viewer with the information we had, but you got it. It was in Pod. You got to route that right in with that Eastern Crystal, and no worries. Game pretty much seemed to be pointing you guys right along the way the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, mitts and flippers, it's kind of hard for me to turn down Pod in that scenario. Especially because like Hype Cave and that whole route with the mirror ends up being such an item dense location. It's just hard to skip it. And when you're at Hype Cave with the flippers and access to Pod, it's like, do I really want to maybe force myself to have to do this walk again? It's always a hard call for me to make. I'm glad it worked out for me this time.
Yeah, this race was actually really close when you both hit go mode. Like you were both basically going into Eastern at the exact same time. P-Train got through Eastern a little quicker, and so he got hit go mode first. And at that point, it was basically P-Train had Skullwood still to finish. Top Life still had Hera, plus the other dungeons you had in common. One of the big things in the seed, though, was the pod routing. I don't know how much you want to talk about that, Top Life.
I don't know. I went in there with bow, and I says, I got the big key, I just need a small key. When I get the small key, I'm gonna go. And I kept saying that in my head over and over and over. And when I got to the big door, I only opened 2 chests. One was the hammer, one was the small key. Why do I think I have a big key?
What's funny is that I had to talk myself out of doing the same thing. Because I got the hammer and I was about to just go straight up. I'm like, I'm in go mode. Let's just go. And I was like, wait a minute, you need a small key. And then after killing the mimics, right before I menued to bombs, I thought, I'm like, wait, no, you don't have to menu to bombs. You only need a small key. And I was like, oh, wait, no, you need a big key too. Let's menu to bombs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that play unfortunately created about a 2.5 minute difference. It got cut down to a little closer to 2 minutes, I think, by the time you guys were entering Ganon's tower, but just wasn't able to overcome that today. And that was basically, aside from the quickness of the seed itself, that was probably the story of the race in my mind.
I will say, looking at the times when you would have probably finished Ganon, that would not have decided it by itself. It definitely was a big difference, but it would not have decided the race by itself.
Yeah, I was getting really nervous just trying to route the mid game, or basically find the hammer. Just after Thieves Town, I was like, how much overworld do I really want to do? Do I want to check Swamp Palace? Because that's probably a game winner, but also it takes a lot of time. Like, if Hammer's there, you probably win, but otherwise you're literally throwing away like a minute and a half. And that definitely could have, that check alone could have decided this race, you know? So, it was really difficult trying to figure out what to skip, especially knowing that the flute was out there, so Meyer was open. Flippers were very attractive depending on how early you did escape on an assured sword seed. If escape was the first thing you did and you had those flippers, you know, Zora's almost a no-brainer. So yeah, I was really worried when, you know, I basically have access to everything in the seed. But this has been kind of the story of my tournament life. I either get access to every crystal dungeon, except for like an ice rod or a bow being buried in a pendant dungeon, or I get these stupid, you know, we're in GT at the hour mark seeds. It's like there's no middle ground. Like it just, I'm really enjoying the tournament, but at the same time, like when I was climbing GT, I was so stressed out because I was trying to figure out. I'm like, where is Topplife? I'm like, did he get the hammer early? Does he have a sword? You know, like so many things could have changed this race.
Actually, that reminds me, P-Train, you did not check the lumberjack.
No, it was,
I did.
You did. Oh, you did. Topplife didn't. So I guess if you did check the lumberjack, you knew there was only one more sword available.
Yes,
So.
And that is precisely, or I'm not going to say precisely why, but that's one of the big reasons why I just went ahead and hovered Moldorm 2. Because there were so many locations still on my map. I mean, the 2 chests at the top of Mini Helmosaur, like it's 2 checks. It literally costs nothing to check them, hardly. But then it's like, do I really want to kill Moldorm for a sword that's probably not even there anyways? So I just went ahead and hovered it. I was like, I'll risk the hover. If a sword is in the Moldorm 2 chest, I'll die on that hill, sure, whatever.
But you should skip, even if I knew there was only 1 sword or 2 sword, it's still like, yeah, you should skip most of it regardless. Too many checks to check to be
Yeah.
there.
Look at that collection rate. That's a pretty crazy collection rate of 125.
Yeah, this seed was super fast.
That the assholes that and that's including GT checks. So, I mean, going into GT, you were at what, maybe 105 checks, a little more than
roughly,
that actually.
Yeah, it was such insanity though. I don't know. When I saw it was hammer only for go mode, and I looked at the top clock. I'm not sure how the time was, but I think it was around 26 minutes or something. There's just so many checks, and if you go wrong here, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think it was a little bit longer because I sequence broke the flute.
Yeah,
So,
but it still knew pretty much where it could be, so that wasn't really a big issue, I think.
Yeah, I think you would have had flute narrowed down to either the eastern area or the flippers checks at the point you found the lamp, right?
Yeah.
This game, maybe?
So we got game 3 coming up. Topplife, you'll get to make a change. Do you have an idea of what you want to change, or you got to think about it?
I think I thought enough. Yeah, this isn't fast enough, so we're probably gonna go for a fast. It's yeah, more like I see I lose like a half a minute or something in Guns Tower to be trained, so just get rid of that.
I like that. I like that a lot. Ganon's Tower, there's some interesting pieces to it, but for as often as a race close enough in there for people to say that routing could make the difference, I feel like maybe 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 of those races actually sees the routing come into play as far as the difference between the runners goes. So it's basically just a big execution check, and if you think you're losing out on that, absolutely the right play to take it out of the picture, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a really interesting choice in the tourney because basically I'm gonna use air quotes here, but you sacrifice the execution advantage or disadvantage of GT for big key variants, which in this race, I'm not gonna lie, I scouted a couple of your VODs, Top Life, and I saw what GT route you run, and I was like, you know what, I feel like our execution, I think I might have a little bit of an edge there, so I'm just gonna copy what Top Life does, and if that leads to a late big key, then okay. But this seed, I almost gambled because I was worried about the possibility you found a sword, but I just opted not to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good choice for you. I'm a little bit sad to see GT go. I'm not gonna lie.
I think with that, we can probably close up here. Let you guys get on with your days. You've got the game 3 to schedule. You got a potential match with Willard coming if you manage to win.
Yeah, both of us, whichever one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, GG's again, and look forward to seeing you guys in game 3.
Yeah, GG Top Life, and I appreciate you guys commentating. Appreciate it. Thanks to Oro for tracking.
Yeah, shout outs to him keeping us in line, helping us realize just how quick the seed was. And also just looking at the speed gaming schedule tonight, there is a tournament match at 6:20 p.m. Eastern. That's about 2.5 hours from now between Goomba and Magnificent. That's going to be on the main speed gaming channel. Then after that at 9 p.m. Eastern, there's going to be the Super Mario Bros. 3 Randomizer weekly race. So between that and today being the last day of Awesome Games Done Quick, you guys have plenty to watch.
And also, if you are looking for something to watch right now, we do have 2 other races going on the Speed Gaming channels. Over on SG1, Tito and Ninban are playing at their 3rd game. Yep, they're in game 3. Winner goes on. Winner moves on. And over on Speed Gaming 4, Hayfield Bay and Pika Pals are playing. So a couple other matches for you to watch right now if you want to.
Yeah, the winner of that Ninban Tito match gets Kappa as their opponent. And the winner of Pika Pals Hayfield Bay gets Illis as their opponent, but that is only a game 1 at this point, so still a full series to play there. And those races, as you said, already in progress. I have no idea about the status of either of those, but almost assuredly not as quick a seeds as we had here. So you can go check out the ending of either of those if you wish.
Yep, I think with that, we will wrap up. Thanks again to our tracker. And thanks to my co-com, Reg, for joining me here.
Yep, and thanks to you for helping make this race happen, make the broadcast happen. Shout outs to everybody in chat who showed up and watched us live. I'll see all you guys over some other race in the future.